Let's see. Moving on. Speaking of the watch market,
Yes.
state of the watch market. So I know in your position, you have a lot of friends.
Yes.
People always hitting you up asking you, what are people curious about right now? What's like the number one thing that people keep hitting you up about in terms of the watch market and what's happening?
Well, a lot of people reaching out to me are really talking about how it's softened.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that kind of did the same as everyone that was excited about watches. They kind of went head first,
Spent all their money.
brought a bunch of watches, thought that they would get a return on their investment. And if I'm consulting with someone, I'm really talking to them about buying watches that they love,
Right.
more than ones that they can flip.
Yeah.
I think it's great when you can buy a watch and, you can kind of laterally move into something else.
Yeah.
It's a culture that's been created in cars, in art, in real estate, and these monetary things, watches that we don't necessarily need, people kind of treated it the same way.
Right.
And so when it was hot, it made sense. Now that it's not, I think a lot of people are sweating.
Yeah. Well, yes. If you're holding, you're sweating.
Yes.
Right. If you're one of these people who have, bought any of these popular models at inflated prices, it doesn't feel so nice.
No.
To be able to look at this watch that you love and realize that you wasted a ton. Maybe not waste, but you lost some money on it.
You lost some big money.
But at the end of the day, too, if you got what you wanted, doesn't really matter. You could afford it at the time. It is what it is.
Exactly.
But I think the valuable lesson there, and one of the things I always tell people is that you don't invest in watches. It's not an investment.
No.
Not in that way.
No.
I think there's definitely room to make plays. But I think you have to have a game plan and really understand what you're buying and determine and define what that play is.
Yes.
You mentioned like getting into pieces and then moving out of them and into other pieces. That's something that I do pretty often.
Same.
I move a lot of watches around and I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going after, what I'm buying. In the event that maybe I could turn a watch into two watches or turn that into a bigger watch.
Yeah.
And, but at the same time, we have the privilege of speaking to dealers, big time collectors, and kind of understanding what's trending, what people are into.
Yeah.
And that obviously informs our decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other thing that's, on the positive side that's exciting right now is watches are becoming available again, to your point,
Yes.
at authorized dealers.
Yes.
Maybe, those iconic models are still difficult to get,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm hearing stories of people getting Rolex GMTs,
Yes.
simple date just OPs that they want.
Mm-hmm.
Even the case that I had an acquaintance who recently told me they got a Batman on their first purchase.
Wow.
Okay, maybe it's still wild, but it's happening.
Yes.
And then, on top of that, additionally, the fact that like the secondary market prices have come down a bit. So
Yes.
if you are willing to pay a premium to get what you want right now, it hurts a lot less now
Mm-hmm.
than it did 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I was very interested in the idea of certified pre-owned.
Okay.
When you have Rolex getting into certified pre-owned, Moser even has a certified pre-owned section on their website. I think brands now want a piece of the pie. They want some of the action. And I think that it's very cool. It can put some people off, right? Because the price points maybe are at market or a little bit greater than market.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you walk into an authorized dealer, you go ahead and say, well, why are you selling this watch over sticker while still selling new watches?
Yeah.
So I think people aren't acclimating to it just yet.
Okay.
But I believe that they will. And you'll start to see the certified pre-owned market when it kind of transitions over and goes into gray market, right? For Rolex having that that ivory or cream wax seal,
Right.
Like now people are going to ask, oh, where did this watch come from? Oh, it has the Rolex certified pre-owned card when it was purchased,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the brands are now getting a piece of the action and they're setting the standard. They're setting the precedent that if you are to buy secondary, you want to buy from someone trusted.
Right.
And those trusted guys are going to continue to up their game with working with the brands to acquire certified pre-owned.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting thing. I was skeptical about how this would all play out when Rolex first took the step, but I think ultimately what I've seen is that this was really great for consumers.
Yeah.
And so you now have the benefit of walking into any authorized dealer that carries Rolex and CPO and purchasing a Rolex, even if it's pre-owned, that it comes with a warranty.
Yeah.
It's peace of mind. It's been checked out by the brand. It's certified.
Brought back to brand new standard as well.
Brought back to brand new standards. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting a watch that's as close to what it would have been when it was initially released as possible. And then additionally, I think on the Rolex side, it strengthens their relationship with their consumers.
Yes.
Right. So now even after sales is part of the Rolex experience.
Yes.
And I think that's a powerful statement for any brand to make, is to be, because they're not making money off of CPO.
No.
Not in the way that people may think that they are, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously, it costs them money to certify these watches. They have different agreements with the authorized dealers.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they're not involved in the transaction.
Yes.
Not in that way, but they are involved in the transaction from a branding perspective.
Yes.
And I think that's a really great lesson for a lot of different brands that, shout out to Moser for seeing that and taking that on. I hear Patek is working on something as well. But no, that was something that was really great for consumers. So what's nice is going back to, talking about the watch market, it seems like we're in a space right now where things are pivoting to be more advantageous for the collector, for the watch consumer, for that person looking to get into Rolex or any other brand. And I think that's a good place to be, right?
Yes.
When you can separate, the commerce side of it in terms of like flipping culture and stuff like that, it seems like there's an opportunity to get back to the passion of things. So the people that are still doing it really, really care about this hobby.
I agree.
Yeah.